Cheers and welcome to the Lazy Sunday. It's the 1st of October, so kicking a punch for the first of the month. This is the Czech Pilsner. It's the Bible version but with Nova Lager yeast. It's good. For a smash beer, really, is what it is. Just Pilsner malt. I think 4.66 kilos of Pilsner malt. And then just Saaz. Saaz at the start. Saaz 10 minutes ago, I think it is. And then Saaz for a whirlpool. So, yeah. It says in the book to do it in turn off. I do, like, turn it off, get it down to 75, do a whirlpool for 20 minutes. I think it's a little too bitter for me, personally. And it's quite bitter. Admittedly, it's only been in the keg for a week. It is not bad for a week. But yeah, for me it's a little too bitter. It may smooth itself out another week or two. But if you're doing that, then what the fucking point of using Nova Lager yeast, I consider? You may as well have just used normal lager yeast, matured it. Yeah, supposedly the idea of the Nova Lager yeast, you do not need to have that maturity. The beer will be good. It probably is. This is probably how the beer should be. It's a little too bitter for my palate, personally. I'll be honest. But it's drinkable. I think it's 5% it came out at, which is alright. Reasonable. Lager. Export lager, I suppose you would say. Premium lager, I think they call it nowadays. Premium lager. Volume. Alcohol by volume. So, brewing this week. Haven't done any. I haven't wanted to. I really haven't. I kept the yeast cake in the fermenter from the Nova Lager yeast from the Czech Pilsner. I was going to drop a beer on it because I kegged it on the Sunday, so I was going to drop a beer either on the Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning. Came around to it, and I just really could not think of a beer that I wanted to brew, and be asked to brew it. I really just couldn't. There was nothing there going, oh, do you know what I'll do? Oh, I really want to do, or I want to do. It's just like, I'm brewing for the sake of it, and I'm using the Nova Lager yeast, so it's going to be a pill. I may as well just do another Pilsner, maybe chuck some Citra in, try and change it up a little bit. I was like, why bother then? If that's the way you're thinking about it, don't bother. Maybe leave it. So you are thinking about, do you know what I want to do? I want to do. Where the passion is, that's when the brewing's good, isn't it? You know, when you've got the passion for it. When you're just trying to knock something out because you feel you have to, because you want to get it done, because say you've got like a yeast sat there on a fermenter that you need to get done, or you're going to have to clean it out and such. I'm just going to have to clean it out. It's just it, rather than like force myself to brew something I really didn't want to brew. Because 19 litres of beer you really didn't want to make, that you made, and it could be good, could be shite, you don't really care. No point, is there? So I didn't. I really haven't got around also to stripping out the beer engine to check to see whether it's a quarter pint fill or half pint fill. So I can't buy I need to do that to check to buy the seals. Could I pull it through to check? No, because it's pulling air in. And so I need to know, I need to get it out, measure it actually in the cylinder bit, so I know what size seals to get. Rather than diameters and etc., it's based on quarter pint or half pint fill. So I need to sort that out. I really do need to strip that down and do it. It's just one of those jobs, and it's yeah, I'll do that in a bit, and I just haven't. So I do need to do that, because when we're into autumn, pretty much, aren't we? Yeah, October is autumn really, isn't it? So we're into autumn, so I need to get that done. Need to get that looked at. Of course, it's time to start thinking about putting some thing on the handball as temperatures drop. So because obviously I think I mentioned it before, I can fit 3 kegs in my Keyser, and I keep them at 5 degrees. Now a decent sort of hand pull beer, you don't want it at that kind of temperature, do you? You want it about 12. Room temperature in here at the minute varies up to 22 down to 10, so it's not a good idea yet, but when the temperatures drop a bit more it'll be quite handy. Then I can do a hand pull beer, and I leave it just connected to the hand pull beer engine just in the shed rather than in the Keezer itself. So that's pretty much the brewing aside. I came across a couple of things I want to show you. Beer snack wise. Now, these are in Lidl at the minute. They've been for a while, I know, but I haven't mentioned them before. So, they come in like a large packet. It's these, really. So you see it? Grisotti and Scrocci. That's how you pronounce it. I don't know whether you pronounce either of them that. They're mini breadsticks, and they're mini thin crackers. They're quite bland, to be honest. They're not got like big flavour. They're not like wow. However, with a dip, they're absolutely lovely. So you probably say, why don't you just have fucking breadsticks then? Here's the reason. If I open a packet of breadsticks, I can't eat a whole thing of breadsticks. Of course, then I'd be a really fat bastard. But if I leave some, they go soft and you don't want to eat them, do you? You may have them one evening, say Friday, Saturday, say, oh, breadsticks, have a couple. Put them away, have them again, maybe in a next session, I'll have some tomorrow. And you don't. And then they go a week maybe, and then you forget about them, and it goes 2 weeks, then 3 weeks. Then you get them out and they're like, whoa, it's just like mush, kind of soft. That was a waste. And so you wasted half a packet. Or you sit there and be a really fat bastard and eat them all. However, for these, they come in a big bag and with small bags in. So you can have one of these and not feel such a big fat bastard by eating the whole thing. And then the whole packet's still there. Now, I love these with hummus. Both of them. Good with hummus. You choose your own dip. The minute I just say I'm at hummus, I may have salsa tomorrow. I may have sour cream the day after. Who knows? Life's such a joy of choices, isn't there? So yeah, just a little beer snack thing there. So I shall move on now to the Whitby story. Before I do, I talked about the eggs, the Scotch eggs, last week, and I did forget to mention the person who gave me the story originally before I researched it. So the polar bear story and the egg story, I have to say, because I forgot to say it last week, thanks Max. My friend Max, after the polar bear story, he saw it. He was like, oh yeah, thanks. I said, oh yeah, we'll do the eggs next week. He said, oh well, mention my name. I think he puts it up for Jeanette, is what his missus, or to the kids. Is my name mentioned? You know him. Kind of thing, I don't know. Anyway, so cheers Max. Thanks for both those stories. They were both really interesting and surprising. So today's, it isn't as surprising. It's there to research and look at, and I already knew most of this. And it's Easter, and it's to do with how Easter is calculated and in what way. So in 664 AD, there was the Synod of Whitby, held here in Whitby at the Abbey. King of Northumbria, Oswiu, had appointed Hilda to be the abbess here at Whitby, and then he decided to bring together this synod, this gathering of the church, to make a decision on what way we would go with in Northumbria. And at this point, the King of Northumbria ruled quite a large space of the UK. It was pretty big. It ran down pretty far, sort of all of Northumbria, Yorkshire, Lancashire, probably down into Norfolk even, across the Nottingham area, and yeah, that was the Anglo-Saxons. Anyway, to get to the point, so the synod came to be, and it was decided. The decision was between Lindisfarne and Iona and a few others. It's sort of up into Scotland. Sorry, it's King of Northumbria. He went up into Scotland a fair bit as well. Up to Edinburgh, I think, as far as possibly. I'm not sure. Could have been. I can't remember. Anyway, so there was the likes of Iona and Lindisfarne who wanted. They kind of went with a sort of the Eastern Christian way, which I think was Constantine, and then there was others like Wilfrid. I think he was at Durham maybe. He wanted to go with the Roman way. However, it gets a bit complicated at that point. It was then convened, this synod. It was discussed between the two sides, and eventually Oswy came down and said, look, I'm going to make a decision. And he went with the Roman side. So the Roman way of, however, Wilfrid himself had not actually gone exactly with the Roman. He'd gone with Alexandria. This is where it gets a bit complicated. So he'd gone with Alexandria's calculation method. However, it was decided then that's it. And that has then become how we in the UK have Easter decided. We went with this way that was decided here in Whitby all those many moons ago. I mean, after that there's been many more synods since, and there's been, it was just a major coming together of British Christianity to make a decision on how we go with Easter here in England ish. That then became Great Britain, which became the UK, and that same decision has spread out. I mean, it was also believed that it was kicking up an open door, really, for this decision. It was kind of coming. The Celts, the Gaelics, were holding out, pretty much kind of going slightly towards it. They were the only ones holding out, really. But we went with the Roman way, and that is how we have Easter now. And it was, decided initially here in Whitby. I mean, obviously there's been changes from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, and how that's altered things, but yeah, that's basically it. Another one for Whitby. So there you go. Cheers. So if you've got this far, I'm moving on to football now. So all those that don't want to talk about football, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you maybe in the next one. And for those that are staying, I just really wanted to touch on yesterday's game. I didn't get to watch it. I was working the afternoon and the evening, so I didn't see anything of the game itself. I did see notifications. I've seen comments, etc. on Facebook and where on social media and stuff, and also seen the news about what has come since the declarations by the referees authority, whatever they're called now, Howard Webb and all that, and the apology. Wow, professional referees making mistakes like that. I mean, it's alright, it's not, but it's a multi-million-pound thing. We're talking things like bets, massive bets placed. I know there was one guy I saw 950 to 1. If that had been counted, that would have come in for him. Long bets that should have come in. You know what I mean? People losing like thousands because of that decision. Not to mention the clubs themselves possibly losing millions if that point becomes those points become so decisive later in the year. But it's not a one-off, is it? Now, as far as I understand it, Salah passed the ball to Diaz, who went and scored, and the pass, the linesman, I'll say linesman rather than assistant referee, because he's the guy on the line holding the flag and it makes it clearer. So the linesman holding the flag lifted his flag to say offside. The referee then stopped the game. Well, it scored, so he pulled the game back to say it was a free kick to Spurs. At which point it went to VAR. They obviously were. I know there's one person being blamed for it. However, I was under the impression there were 3 VAR staff in the control room at any one time, all the time. So 3. It was then concluded, yeah, no, we've looked at it, that's fine, that's a goal. We're not even going to draw the lines, we're not even going to say. And I can't remember the actual phrase for it, but there was the phrase that they said that complete, something complete, which means that, yeah, we agree that is a goal. There's nothing outstanding. The missed on the pitch. There's been no clear and obvious error. No, because the clear and obvious error was in the VAR room, in the fact that they thought the goal had been given because they were fucking watching and concentrating. Now, they say there's 1, but no, there's 3 usually in the control room. VAR. I'd have to look back to see, but as far as I'm aware, there's usually 3. But even 1, what's he doing? Fucking, they're Googling stuff, or they're on his phone going through bloody TikTok, watching TikTok. Oh yeah, sorry, am I supposed to be doing something now? I mean, this is supposedly professional referees, and it's not happening once. It's happening innumerable times, isn't it? Just all the time. It's becoming terrible, and it's not the problem of the technology. It's the problem of the people using the technology, and beggars belief. I think I would rather have had Thomas in the VAR box doing that, because I think he'd do a better job, and he can barely wipe his ass properly if he ever bothers at all. You know what I mean? It's just... Anyway, so Liverpool score 3 goals and lose 2-1. You know. You're good at writing. Have you heard Lord of the Rings? It's fucking a bit more complicated than football, but yeah. You couldn't write it really, could you? And so I'm moving on to my fantasy football. That has been abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. I'm really struggling. I'm down to 37th now, I think, at 39. It's just awful. There was me thinking, oh yeah, I'm catching Matty Evans. No, it's just pear-shaped. Didn't help with Haaland not scoring. With Salah getting a yellow card and not scoring. Diaz not scoring. I just put him in. I guess I've jinxed it again. I do jinx things, but yeah, I think I've jinxed that. So I think I'll leave it there before I get a bit more ranty. If you got this far, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.